Frivolous Video Friday, number 3. Coming back at you again with ultra frivolity. Frivolous frivolity. Two things. First thing is, why am I making all these videos? Actually, three things. Why am I making... I'll probably forget the other two by the time I'm done explaining the first one. So, yeah, I think I've already forgotten. No joke. So, the first thing is that I'm making all these videos because I've been, like, so high frequency that with the fasting that I've been, like, just, like, way out of nowhere. And, matter of fact, I can't even remember the thoughts that were going through my brain. I was, like, completely thoughtless for, like, the past, like, 2 weeks, but I wasn't able to, like, leave my body, but I was completely thoughtless. Even though I was, like, making videos, I think. I can't remember. I feel so much smarter now that I've gone back to meat, but I still feel, like, hot internally, like, body temperature. Because I'm getting used to the heat again. Meat rides with heat, go figure. Okay, second thing, I did indeed get possessed by, like, a lesser entity because I didn't even try to, like, make it happen. And I don't channel anything, but what I was doing was, you know that room that I showed you with the pillars in it? All I did was meditate in that room, go into a thoughtless state, and the next thing I know, I wake up driving down the road on a road that I wasn't supposed to be on. And I write things too. Like sometimes, like, I'll be in a thoughtless state, and then I'll, like, write things, and I have no memory of writing them. And the interesting thing is, usually everything I write has so far has been meaningless, but the one thing that I did write that was, like, intelligible was I wrote on a piece of paper, "The black demons are here." But when I say black demons, I'm talking about negative entities, because I've seen them at my job, like the really dark ones. Not the ones that are like the human died and refused to go into the queue. I'm talking about the ones that are like the dark ones, like the really dark negative entity ones. Those are the ones that I saw and continuously get haunted by. Now, to remember the other thing I was going to say. Oh, yes. Thank God I didn't forget. I am noticing such an extremely high level of synchronicity lately. I mean, extremely high level. In other words, I'll be thinking, like, last week, right? I was thinking about the song, "I saw the sign, it opened up my eyes, I saw the sign, drag you up, where you belong." I was thinking about that song. I had a memory of, like, you know, Full House. I was at some restaurant talking to this girl about Full House, and for some reason that song popped in my head. And then as soon as I leave, I get in the car, and on the radio they're playing that song, like. And then just today, and there's been like two examples of this. There's been like two other examples of this that I can't remember right now, but just today I was thinking about that saying where if you want to domesticate an animal, you just put its food in the middle of a forest or wherever, and then, like, put the cage, like, closer and closer and closer and closer each passing day until all you have to do is just walk up behind the animal while it's eating the food and close the door. I thought of that. I was thinking about that, like, an hour ago. And so, for no reason at all, I decided to go on Alan Watts' web page and start listening to one of his blurbs, and then he says that exact thing. I'm dying to hear like the explanation about that. I bet you Gilbert will explain it, because that's probably one of the things that he can talk about. So I noticed that Gilbert has nothing to say when I talk about the stuff that's like, you know, the future, my future, and when I talk about the things that are like, you know, the eighth dimension meaning like advanced Freemasonic stuff. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if I make a video where I say something like, I want to make a birthday wish, he'll make a video where he's like, oh, you're dealing with that Wishmaster again. You're dealing with that Wishmaster again. Don't be dealing with that Wishmaster. So basically he talks about the stuff that is like generic stuff that kind of doesn't matter, but so he should be able to reply with something about the synchronicity. Yeah, I haven't had that many deja vus, but I've had a lot of the synchronicity. There's, like I said, there's two other examples that happened recently, and I can't remember. And you know what else I totally forgot about? The past 2 weeks, like I said, have been relatively mindless, and I completely forgot about the blood moons coming up. It just like completely like just slipped my mind. Like, and the other thing is, I can't even remember any dreams I've had when I was fasting. I didn't remember like any dreams at all, like at all, which probably tells me that you know why I think that was because I think what happened was when I was high frequency, the aliens that were like astrally abducting me, I think they like needed me to be high frequency so they could like evaluate me properly. So they said, okay, let's make him think that he needs to fast so that we can like get him at the point where we can like operate on him or whatever. Because I won't lie, I engaged in sticky icky today, and I could like feel a chip in my spine. It's like right around, I'd say like T8. And yeah, I can feel like a chip in my spine. They got rid of the ones in my biceps and in my quads, but I think there's one in my spine. I could be totally crazy. Nah, I'm not crazy, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that there's probably something in my spine. And I'm not like gonna blame people for like, I'm not gonna say something like, oh, I can't astral project because there's a chip in my spine or whatever. I realize that we can give our bodies commands. We can say things like, what Rachel taught me to do was she taught me to like put my fingers on my pineal gland, like close my eyes. And of course, Bashar would say this is a permission slip. So, Rachel taught me how to clear the negative entities. She's like, just put your fingers on your pineal gland and like close your eyes and just give your body command and will the negative entities away. Just be like, get away from me right now. You're not welcome here. Get away from me. Or you can do like the humming where you Or what I like to do the thing where I just make like noises like I just came in a pretty girl, like hmm, or like you just uh like the movie Independence Day where Will Smith like he's like flying out of the mothership and he like barely makes it out of the hole that's like closing up. He's like hmm, like a victory grunt, like ah, like you just like all your troubles are over, like just won lottery, like ah, hmm. And the other thing I'm starting to, I always knew this, but the other thing, it's so true. You don't know how you look in someone else's eyes, but of course, I know how I look in people's eyes because I have a seeing eye, and I have warlock abilities. But I fully understand that because most people are extremely predictable, and I fully understand how everyone has their own reality, and it's so when you're at my level, it's so easy to see like what the person's thinking. So I'm now at the level where I can look at your picture and I can tell if you're stupid or not without you even saying a word. And I won't lie, marijuana helps me see this if you're stupid or not just by looking at your eyes. And it's a oh, and sometimes I get thrown off by soulfulness because soulfulness will throw you off. Like for example, Sarah Labrie is, I don't want to say stupid. Rachel is another example of this too, where she is smart, but she just can't articulate what she knows, which is her programming, so that she won't like articulate sentient points. She won't be. She's never going to come across well spoken, so as to not let any additional people wake up. Which is why I recommend Kimberly Bunch as a psychic medium over Rachel, because see, Rachel, even though she sounds like American, she's more fluent in French and German. She was born in France in the wilderness. And so I noticed like a lot of a language. For example, let me give you a good example. If you get a psychic reading from Rachel and she says something like, your job is your mission in life. Now, what she meant to say was your career is your mission in life and not your exact job. And you might mistakenly interpret what she's saying as your current job that you're working right now. You need to stay with that job forever. So that could be extremely costly if if say if like your job is about to fold, but the manager's not telling you. So if you get a psychic reading from Rachel and she tells you that with her limited ability to articulate points, you might stay in a sinking ship foolishly. So that's why I would go with Kimberly Bunch over Rachel, because she's way more articulate. And I know what the final outcome is for anyone with a soul. They become 100% judgmentless, regardless of what happens to them. And Kimberly Bunch is like the model for that. So is James Anadin. Ziggy, DG Pawn Shop, even though DG Pawn Shop is somewhat like calcified. Not calcified, but like he just doesn't have time because he's a dad who supports kids and a wife, and he's got stuff to do. But he's still like judgmentless. And I've been like really praying slash positively intending for myself to become judgmentless. And of course, as you know, it's going to take a lot of work, but I really try and try and try and try. Lord knows I try. And so I try to like work on giving myself commands, because you see, even we're still on autopilot, but less of an autopilot. So we can give our body commands, and we can intend, like, you know, like Tom Campbell says, living with intention. And I'm getting a lot better. Marijuana helps. And yes, I know it's meant to be eaten and not meant to be. And you know, the weird thing about marijuana that no one ever makes this point. The point with marijuana is it's the reverse of cooking. Because usually when you cook food, it becomes less nourishing slash getting you in touch with your junk DNA, which is your, what I call the environment DNA. They call your junk DNA the stuff that doesn't function. That's because it doesn't function when you're eating cooked food. So if you eat like raw food, like when I was on raw fish diet, I could literally feel the environment. I could become one with the environment. And so weed is the opposite, which makes it an anomaly, because when you cook it, it makes it even more psychoactive. And you know what I've noticed with weed is that whenever I smoke it, I notice that everything looks so like gray. You know what I mean? Like there's no color to behold in the world. Everything looks so like everything's either like black or white. There's no color in the world. There's no like psycho, or what's the, I think you know what I'm trying to, there's no hippy dippy psychedelic colors. And black lights are wonderful for the pineal gland, and so are colors that are like hippie tie-dye colors. Everything's extremely like, and that's another thing. If you go to an airport, there's a movie about this. But if you go to an airport, there's no like color, and everything's like soulless. Everything's expressionless. And there was a movie that was like about, they put out, called, I can't remember, but it was like there was like it was centered around police whose sole job was to go around like destroying like paintings and photos, and it was like showing the future where everything's like soulless and no one is allowed to have like a Bible, no one's allowed to have like any paintings or photos or beliefs. You know, one of those dystopia future movies where everyone takes like medication to keep their soul from coming out. I think it starts with an I. It's like Infinity, or I remember Mike Illuminati told me to watch it, and I watched it a long time ago, and I can't remember to save my life or my soul. Damn it, I have to go to work in 50 minutes. I want to stay home and play. No. Don't want to go to work. I'm the king of all ascending reptilians. I do not work. Working is for dogs.